The main one is just give us space, really. Don't sit, like, so if I did a video yesterday of overtaking a caravan, and just a simple gesture of, like, I was in the overtaking lane and the caravan took their foot off the gas, slowed down just so I could get past a little bit quicker. If you're outside of metropolitan areas, carry a UHF radio, you can get handheld radios, have it on channel 40, and then we can communicate clearly what my intentions are, because it's never my intention to intimidate or scare anyone, but I understand that sometimes I've driven up to 4 trailer road trains, and that's intimidating just by, but if I can just get on the radio and be like, hey, like, just let you know, this is my intention to get around you, we'll do it safely, and so then, that takes the fear out of it. There is a way that we can communicate. So if you're outside of metropolitan areas, carry a radio, keep it on channel 40, keep it as communication, not conversation. And then when you're in the metropolitan areas, don't sit in our blind spots. And if you see a gap between us and the car in front, don't just jump inside of that, because we actually need that braking distance to be able to slow down and come to a safe stop.
Welcome to the Leaders of Influence podcast. The show where leadership is not a title, it's all about influence and impact. Each episode, I sit down with leaders who have built trust, moved teams, and shaped outcomes where it mattered most. No motivational quotes, just the decisions, the habits, and the pressure-tested principles that create real influence. If you want to lead with more clarity, credibility, and care factor, hit follow right now so you don't miss the next conversation. Now, let's get into today's episode. Welcome to the Find Your Influence podcast with Anton, where we are up to like 140 something conversations, which is just amazing because it's such a great topic. And I'm so grateful that people like Casuarina, and this is round 2 with Casuarina and I, sadly, amazing humans get to come and talk to us, and we talk about all things influence. Now, Casuarina Smith is a road train driver, content creator, and industry advocate, which is really cool. Widely known as Trucking with CJ, Casuarina is an Australian road train driver and is recognised for her authentic voice, hands-on industry experience, and deep connection to the land. That's really cool. Looking forward to unpacking that as well. Based in the Greater Adelaide region, Casuarina brings together a lifelong appreciation for regional Australia, with nearly a decade of professional heavy vehicle driving experience across construction, fuel transportation, mining, and long-haul operations. And I think, since we spoke last, also race car transport as well, which I'm going to unpack with Casuarina. In 2022, Casuarina founded Trucking with CJ, transforming her on-road career into a powerful digital platform that shares the realities, challenges, and pride of life behind the wheel. Through social media, speaking engagements, and industry events, she connects with a global audience while championing the trucking profession. That is so cool. But before transitioning fully into trucking, Casuarina built a professional foundation in insurance and corporate services, and got recognition, Personal Lines Executive of the Year. Go you, Casuarina. Young Insurance Professionals Australia involvement, and her background gives her the ability to engage professionally with a whole range of stakeholders. That's probably a good enough intro, Casuarina, right?
Yeah, that's a lot. I don't think I need to add anything more now.
Cool. Nothing to add. That's so cool. So just for all our listeners and viewers out there, right now, in the moment, you're in Vegas. What are you trucking around this morning?
So just in the passenger seat, just helping out. I actually live in the Gold Coast now. So I'm from Adelaide. I grew up in Adelaide, and we just stayed up here last night. We're just loading some freight, and then the truck will get parked up for the weekend. So my partner's a truck driver as well. So because he's an interstater, we don't get to see each other very often. It was a good chance for me to come and help out last night unloading, this morning loading. So and then I fly to Tasmania tomorrow for AgFest. So we don't get to see each other very often. So it's just a chance to be able to jump in the truck and help out.
Cool. So don't tell me like you've been up all night or something, have you, doing loading?
Nah.
You got some sleep?
Yeah. Yeah, we've got bunk beds in the back here, so
Oh,
it's
right.
yeah, I've got the top bunk with all of my kind of pink bedding, and then he's down the bottom, so it's a good night's sleep.
Oh, very good. Good stuff, Casuarina.
Yeah.
Now, just
Yeah.
for all our listeners out there, one of our great clients in the past was Emerald Carrying Company. So
Yes.
they carry fuel around our great nation and Monaro fuel haulage. Um,
hmm
for our listeners out there that are interested, what sort of truck are you in at the moment? Is it a Kenworth? Is it?
Yeah, this probably gave it away and this year. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm
there
in a
you go.
Kenworth
Yeah.
950 Legend.
Yeah.
So yeah, nice truck.
Good.
I typically only drive Kenworths myself.
Right.
And I drive a 909.
Right.
But yeah, I've got mates who drive for Emerald as well, and they've got a fantastic fleet, and they've helped me out when I've been in Darwin before, letting me wash the race transporter up there in their yard. So
Wow.
great people.
Shout out
Mm,
to Emerald Carrying Company. I love it. Good
yeah.
on you. Isn't it great when we're all connected somehow, just through the.
Yes, we're all somehow connected without realizing it.
I know. The
Yeah.
just the 3 degrees of separation on the planet, Casuarina, is phenomenal.
Yeah. And I think as well, like, transport industry, everyone's connected to it without realizing it. A lot of people
Gosh.
like poo-hoo the transport industry, not realizing that without the transport industry, you wouldn't have anything in your office right there. You wouldn't have the clothes on your back. So, yeah, that's why I try to advocate for it so much and show people that they should be really proud of what they do and achieve, because it's an industry we should be proud of.
Good on you. Go, Casuarina. Good on you. Um, yeah, and absolutely, and I think we sort of do. I think we give probably our truckies a hard time. We only see them out on the highway, but we don't realise the life that they've got, the challenge that they've got to deal with us on the highway too. You've got to deal with us, and
Yeah.
as well
Yeah,
people.
and like that, and it's like a breakdown in communication and education. So unless you have experience inside of a truck in the seats, you wouldn't realize what the vision is for us, or the weights, or just all of that. So a lot of people think that driving a truck's lazy, or like, why would you get tired? But it's the mental fatigue that you have from having to deal with traffic, because you're trying to deal with people who are undercutting you or brake checking you and stuff like that. So hopefully a little bit of my education and stuff hopefully can help bridge that gap.
Oh, Casuarina, I'm loving your work. Before we even start talking about influence, why don't you see if you could, please? Could you influence me and other drivers on the highway? What do we need to do to be a bit
hmm
more respectful, to be a bit more calm on the high? Like, what can we do to make truckies' lives easier?
the main one is just give us space, really. Don't sit like, so if I did a video yesterday of overtaking a caravan, and just a simple gesture of, like, I was in the overtaking lane, and the caravan took their foot off the gas, slowed down just so I could get past a little bit quicker. If you're outside of metropolitan areas, carry a UHF radio, you can get handheld radios, have it on channel 40, and then we can communicate clearly what my intentions are, because it's never my intention to intimidate or scare anyone. But I understand that sometimes I've driven up to 4-trailer road trains, and that's intimidating just by, but if I can just get on the radio and be like, hey, like, just letting you know, this is my intention to get around you, we'll do it safely. And so then, that takes the fear out of it. And there is a way that we can communicate. So if you're outside of metropolitan areas, carry a radio, keep it on channel 40, keep it as communication, not conversation. And then when you're in the metropolitan areas, don't sit in our blind spots. And if you see a gap between us and the car in front, don't just jump inside of that, because we actually need that braking distance to be able to slow down and come to a safe stop.
Casuarina, this is intriguing. Thank you so much. So
No worries.
let's say I get a radio, and and we've got radios in the office, would you believe, because we're at different places. So let's say I come up behind a truck and I want to pass it, and I want to say, hey,
hmm
truck driver, can I go past on your right, or whatever? How do I know how to talk to them? Like, I know channel 40, but is it
Yeah.
only because I'm in range, so they'll hear me only because I'll just
Yeah.
say,
Yeah, so the closer you are, the clearer the communication will be.
oh,
Say you come up behind an Emerald road train,
yeah,
like Emerald carrying, you could go,
yep,
copy in the Emerald tanker.
right,
I just want to get around you, so can you let me know when
nice,
it's safe? Boom.
nice.
And then so you're identifying that you can tell that there's a company name, and that But like if you're on the Pacific or the, the dual lane, the Hume or whatever, you wouldn't do
No,
it. It's
that's
more
right.
so if you're
That's
heading west of the coast or
That's right.
north of South Australia.
Or going on the Bruce for us.
Yes,
The
yes,
Bruce
yes.
Highway. Woot, woot. Can I
It's
get?
funny. I haven't been up that way since I moved here.
Stop.
Yeah,
Do yourself a
yeah,
favour. Come. I tell you what. If you want something to advocate about
yeah,
the quality of the Bruce Highway and places. It's a
yeah.
national highway. I'm sure you've
I'm
heard
not
of
sure if
him.
I'm ready to open that can of worms, but yeah, I've heard a lot.
I always say our politicians should be forced to drive the Bruce Highway from Brisbane to Cairns before they make any decisions on where they're going to spend road money. But anyway, that's just our little bent up here in regional Queensland. Now let's talk influence. You had this great career before your truck driving, but I want to talk about your truck driving career. How did you get into trucking, like from insurance and from a young female exec, and now you're a trucker?
Yeah, the transport industry is quite hard to get into if you don't have connections. I was privileged in the fact that my dad was driving trucks at the time, still is, and my sister had just started driving. So back when I was an insurance broker in 2013, I was moving to Darwin. So I had this couple of weeks between moving that I actually jumped in the truck with my dad. We got me signed off on all the paperwork with the company. So I just did some induction. So that gave me a chance to sit in it. And we spent a day together or a few, and I loved it so much. And his boss came out to me and said, "Oh, Casuarina, if you ever want a job, you can." I said, "No, like I'd love to, but I've got this corporate career. We're moving to Darwin. I really need to just see where this career takes me." And he goes, "Well, if you ever change your mind, you let us know." So it just took one person to see the value in potential. Like I didn't have my license, I didn't have experience, but he saw that we would be a good candidate, and so he had faith in me. I guess that kind of stuck. And so when I was in Darwin, I actually asked my parents if they could help, like for a birthday or Christmas or something. All I wanted was them to put some money towards me getting truck license lessons. And so then I'd go do my job as an insurance broker. I'd go down at nighttime and do like you would sporting lessons, and I did truck driving lessons. And then from there, I got my license, sat on it again for a few more years. And then when I decided to leave my corporate career, I rang, my sister had actually taken the offer. So I'm one of four girls, and I'm the first eldest, and the third sister, she actually took up that offer. So she went from working in an office, started driving, and I was so envious of her. And she's like, "Casuarina, just come home." I was living in Brisbane at the time. And so, like I held the license. I did it all off my own back. And so that meant that I could just go straight down there and start. And then the company wouldn't employ us, but a mechanic there employed us as contractors. And then he like it was his he was kind of taking the responsibility, I guess, a little bit. And then he leased us out to the company in a way. I'm not getting my terms right, but anyway, it just took a couple people to see the value in us, and then take a chance on us. And then me and my sister started driving trucks around the same time for the same company, and my dad was there as well. I just want to say, like, Dad was not keen on us driving trucks. He was very scared about how we would get treated. So he was more so, and it's like everything in life, it's people's fear overshadows, like we take as in like they don't trust us or believe in us. It's more so their fears speaking louder than anything. But he's a huge advocate for what we do now, and very proud of his girls.
Of course, and he was before. He was before anyway. He was just.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. And like he'd never tell it to our face, but he tells everyone else. So it's always secondhand information. Oh, your dad's so proud of you.
Stop it. Stop it.
Always.
Oh, tough.
He doesn't want us to get a big head. He doesn't want us to get a big head.
Right. I get it. Now, but I want to ask you this question though: was Dad's fears grounded in reality? Like, were you well accepted into trucking, or did you find some stigma around whether it's your gender or anything, or your lack of experience or anything else?
It was tough. Definitely.
Was it? Okay, talk.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's and I've got to be very careful when I'm trying to like encourage people to join the industry, because it's like I want people to join, and it is a very great industry.
Of course.
But the reality as well is that you do need to have tough skin. You need to be able to stand your own. If you want to have your hand held the whole way through, it's not. We got to be, and you want to be like you're gonna have to do the same job that everyone else does.
Of
So I
course.
guess like at the beginning there wasn't really any girls doing it, so it was a
Mm.
shock for people seeing us rock up on site. A lot of the things of like wanting to take us out on dates, and if you rejected them, then it's like what? And Dad's like, oh, just say that you've got a boyfriend. And then me being like, well, no, I'm allowed to say, like, allowed to not be interested. So it's a matter of like trying to find that confidence in like the rejecting people. I think that was a lot what it was. But honestly, I love this industry. That
Good,
was a
of course,
long
of course.
time ago. That was a decade ago.
Yeah.
Things have changed a lot since then.
Do-
And yeah, Dad's fears were like warranted. But it was just him trying to protect us.
Good on you.
But it's great now. Yeah.
I love how you speak so positively about the industry. Don't worry, every industry's got its flaws.
Every industry.
Leadership coaching.
Insurance was hard.
Try to
you know?
leadership coaching. Try to public speaking. Public speaking is
Yeah.
the most feared thing on the planet.
Mhm.
Do a podcast and see what people say. Why would you want to do that? So
Yeah, and like same with me going like public online and creating a
Yeah.
public profile. Dad didn't want me doing that either.
No.
Casuarina, don't do that. You're opening yourself up for criticism. Blah, blah, blah. And like it's true. Dad's seen us bawl our eyes out. But again, the tough times are worth it.
Oh, love it. That's what makes us, crafts us, develops us into
Yeah.
the really functioning, strong and resilience. That's where some of our resilience comes from, the ability
Yeah.
to cope with those situations. Now, talking about you becoming an advocate, talking about you becoming public and,
Mm.
in the public. Before I ask you about what that's like, how would you describe or define the concept of influence? What does influence, or maybe in your world, advocacy, what does that actually, what's it mean to you?
I think like we probably spoke about this before, that I don't like the word influencer, because I feel like I know that being a face or influence or advocate, there's a lot of weight behind that. There's a big responsibility to show up correctly for people, because you have the power is the wrong word, but you have the ability to shape someone's perception of something. So I need to make sure that it's always truthful, honest, and be positive and a good role model. I think like, I've got pillars that I try to stick by, that I like, and values and morals. I don't really know how to answer the question really, but like it just, you have the ability to shape someone's perception of something. So make sure that with that power, you do it correctly.
Oh, treat it with the importance that it deserves.
I think so, yeah.
Don't be flippant. That's really well said. No, I love it. Now, you said you've got some pillars and some values. Are you able to share with your listeners what they are, or do you prefer to keep them private?
I think it's pretty like obvious. I've tried really hard throughout the last few years to try and keep my gender out of it as much as possible. To not hone in on that. Because the industry is made up of only 2% of women typically, drivers. And so I've noticed throughout my career that if I was to focus on that, I've lost half the people in conversation. And so just by sitting back and listening, I've just realized that the people that the men really had respect for, the women who just did the job and just got on with it. So I guess I tried really hard to do that. In saying that, I went to a conference the other weekend and I really had to bite my words. I was a public speaker, a keynote speaker at this event. And after the first day, it was a women's event. And I actually rewrote my whole speech because I realized that I was wrong, and that I do have a certain responsibility to show up as a woman and to be proud and to speak on the things that I've experienced as a woman. So I'm in this transition phase where I'm like, I probably was a little bit wrong there, and I think that's growth. I think we're allowed to figure things out as we go. That's life. That's growing up. So I try to always wear like plain clothes. I try to be a good role model for kids. I only represent brands and products that I would genuinely use and that my community will benefit from. I've had to say no to really big pay offered opportunities because it didn't align with that, like online gambling, like sexualization of my body or anything like that. I've had to put that to the side because I'm like, well, who do I want to shop for? Because when I grew up, I loved motorbikes and car racing. The only women that I could see were the cage dancers at Crossy Demons, who were like pretty much strippers. In Crusty Demons or like Metal Militia, all the girls were like skimpy clad. Supercars. I really wanted to be a grid girl with an umbrella because I was like, oh my god, that's how I could be at those events. Because it's the only representation of women being successful. I raced motocross. The only girls I had to look up to were the Jim Beam girls. So when I would go up to these girl races to get a poster signed, the poster was them in the bikini next to their motorbikes, and it was so normalized for me. So I'm like, okay, I don't want that for my future nephew, nieces, children. I want them to know that they can show up and not have to do that if they don't want to. So that's been a pretty strong thing, and that's just for my own personal upbringing. But also just be positive. Like, everything you see online is so negative, it drags you down. Everyone just highlights the crashes or the shitty behavior, but there's so much good in this world, so let's like focus on that. So I share videos of experiences of positive communication passing with caravans, where everyone else will post the shitty time that they had, and that's clickbait. Like, I could go viral if I shared all that stuff, but that's not my values. Like, let's really hone in on the like, let's show and teach from good examples. So I guess like I've gone off on a tangent, as I always do, but I guess fundamentally that's kind of like the grounds of it all. I just find it very hard now to find out how everyone likes what I'm doing. Everyone wants to be a part of it. Everyone wants to use what I do, but trying to get people to pay for my experience, pay for my exposure is very difficult. It was very easy when I was a full-time truck driver because I was paid per hour for what I did, because everyone knows that per hour this is what you're worth. But now in the world that I'm in, it's very, because I don't drive full-time anymore.
Huh.
I burnt out. I got very sick last year.
Oh.
Something had to give. So now it's a very weird world for me where it's like, well, yeah.
Cool,
But fundamentally, I'd rather stick to my values and know that I'm staying true to that. And if I have to go back full-time trucking, that's fine. But I'm not going to sell out and go do those things that will detrimentally, like, hurt my industry, my community.
Holy, so powerful, so powerful. No, seriously, that's crazy good. Thanks for sharing. Not many people in 2026 have that, just that fierce value alignment. So well done.
Well, it means that I can sleep well at night,
Yeah.
And I know that any kid that comes up and meets me at a truck show, the person that they see online is exactly the person that they see in person. I've had people say to me, "Oh, you need to play it up and do more like, be a bit more theatrical for the kids." I'm like, no, because when they meet me in person, I'm going to be exactly the same person that they met. They see the videos online. So, yeah.
Holy mackinaw, that's really, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. And one of the
It's okay.
I love it. And kids are important to you. We're going to come back to your children's book soon, I think. And
Okay.
before we do that, though, one of the questions that I always ask our amazing guests is, who have you influenced? Who are you most proud of? What's a story that you can sort of talk about that goes to you being this really positive role model for people?
There's like I have messages every day from people who I got one email this morning actually, and like it caught me by surprise. Where is it? I want to say thank you. I'm so excited to subscribe to your channel, so my YouTube. I'm new to Australia and definitely no time or budget to travel around. But when I see the road from your windshield, especially in the dark moment of my day, it seems like I'm driving. You bring the joy to my life. You do not believe that how much I need that. Sometimes our small gestures can bring the happiness to other people's life. Thank you. And then I got one the other day from someone with a kid about the book. Sorry, it's not very professional of me doing this, but it was really beautiful though. I like to read the email itself, but I woke up to it and it was the beginning of it was Monday. I'm not gonna be able to find it now, but it was just beautiful. It was like saying, I that their daughter, like that they bought the book for their daughter. They met me in person, and I think my parents probably like encouraged them. Here we go. Oh no, it's not. My apologies. But basically, like they went to no, I've got to find it because it was so beautiful.
Right. You do that while I'm talking. So for everyone that doesn't know, Casuarina and I had a go at this a little while ago, and for some reason we thought it was recording. It didn't. And anyway, so Casuarina's good enough to come back on. So thank you very much for that.
No, that's okay. Anyway, that. I'm not gonna be able to find it now because that's always the way that it
Oh, good.
happens. But basically, like I did and like there was one guy that was messaged me and he was at the time thinking about changing careers but wasn't too sure. He was a bit scared. Wants to drive trucks, not sure. He had a trade, and he's like, you kind of inspired me. So he went and drove concrete trucks. So I'm like, please keep me updated on how you go. So he starts driving concrete trucks. And then he sends me a photo of his daughter and him in front of the truck. And he's like, oh, look, I'm so proud. Next thing I get a message from him, he's upgraded his license and he's kept me updated the whole way through. And then there's like younger women who, one in particular, she has like been watching my videos for years. She's finally old enough. She's now got her license. She's actually started her own Instagram page documenting her journey. And so I've started following her and I'm giving her like tips and like motivating her. We actually got to meet at a truck show and she was like genuinely like a little show, and I was like, that's very interesting because you don't realize how that you're actually impacting people and bringing like a positive influence to them like that. So her and lots of other, people, but there's so many, like I get messages all the time from people saying that like I've somehow inspired them to join the industry or upgrade their license or go do something that otherwise they might not have even tried. So
Yep.
I don't like talking about it too much because it makes me feel uncomfortable, like
Right.
trying to like big note myself.
Mm,
But
no, good.
there is so many stories and feedback that's just beautiful.
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
Good on you. Good on you. Congratulations too, by the way. Because I think some people, Casuarina, don't realise how hard it is to get a truck license. Like,
it is. Yeah,
I got it back in the day, and I was working on a mine site. I think I told you this story last time. And when we had downtime on the mine site, there was always a truck available because it was heavy equipment. And we were double clutching back then in the 1900s. Maybe they're all automatic now. I don't know, but back.
Nah, some of it was still manual.
Oh, cool. There you go. I found it extremely difficult to actually get my license. Like this was months, but we're only sort of doing an hour a day on shift work. But I don't know if people realise quite how demanding and how difficult it is just to get a license.
And it's expensive. It's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in yourself. And like a lot of people say, I say to people, I'm like, invest in yourself and do it off your own back so no one owns you. Like, don't try and go to jobs and be like, oh, I want a job. Can you pay for my license? And it's like, I probably at some stage in my career kind of expected that people would pay. And then I just went and did it myself anyway. But you kind of can get a little bit entitled thinking that everyone owes you everything. But if you just that little bit of initiative and just like invest in yourself, upgrade your license, then you don't have to feel like you're guilty if you want to leave a company or go better yourself because you've done it off your own back. But yeah, like it's an expensive. I'm trying really hard to figure out how I can find out about the best kind of training organizations out there and like partner with them so that I can spread awareness so that people know about them, because there are obviously like every industry, like, dodgy ways to get things and that, but I want to make sure that I can show people where really good training organizations are.
Great stuff. So just for everyone out there, there'll be some people listening to this. Let's hope you inspire them and you influence and you impact some lives through the podcast episode. What are they looking at? What's the cost potentially of a trucker's license from start to finish?
It depends on how many lessons you need as well, I guess, but it's upwards of, I don't know, I would assume over around $1,500.
Right,
I
gotcha.
would say, like, it's not like,
Yeah.
but everyone's struggling. Like,
Yeah.
cost of living's expensive.
Absolutely.
So like I to one person $1,000 would be like, oh yeah, but another person that could be like a year saving.
Shit ton
So
of
like
money.
I don't want to just throw around numbers, but
No, I get
yeah,
it. No, I
it's
get it.
not yeah,
That's a lot of
it's not
money.
cheap.
It's a lot of money for
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. But like if you do go and do it yourself, sometimes your employer will reimburse a certain percentage
very
of it.
good. Great.
Hmm.
My son's a pilot, and so that's quite an expensive license as well as
Oh, that would be a whole
That's
lot more. Yeah.
and my lovely wife is a train driver, and it took them a year to
No
train.
way.
So we got planes, trains, and I drive cars. So there's the automobile.
Well, the conference I went to was Transport Women's Australia, and we had a train driver, a tram driver, and a truck driver all up on stage together, and it was awesome.
No way! I'm going to tell Mrs. G.
Yeah, tell her about it. It's TWAL,
TW.
Transport Women's Australia Limited, and it's for anyone, well, men and women across the whole like logistics transport industry. Like, it's not just trucks. I think everyone just assumes road transport, but there's so much more to that. There's trains and buses and yeah, so it's very interesting hearing from the train driver who transports humans, right? And like the level of like education and training before they even get in the train to transport people. So I love learning about every industry, and like I hope that people don't get put off by seeing that I'm a truck driver in this, because you can learn something from everyone. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a lot like what I've found is that when during my online content creation stuff, when I was approaching agencies to try and help represent me, because I was having these legal contracts I was having to sign, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. I got the door closed in my face all the time. Oh, we don't deal with truck drivers. And I'm like, this is so much more than truck driving. But everyone's so close-minded. But it's like, but I've got to say, for every no, I'm so grateful, because it's led me down to the path that I'm on. So like for every one yes, there's been 10 no's. And I think people need to realize that as well when they see someone doing what they think is like successful or well. They've had a lot of knocks. Like it hasn't just been like smooth sailing of like, oh, here's a red carpet for you. Oh, let's just pay you money. There's actually been so many people that just didn't see the vision. So I just had to go out and make it, just like my kid's book.
I love that, because I'm gonna say something. I don't usually say negative things, especially in these podcasts, but like it's tough when you're in business. Like we cut our skin on no's, and the amount of no's that I've had over 20 years is amazing. But the saddest part for me is when they're from your inner circle, and you don't know that there's some people, Casuarina, around us, which this really upsets me when I think about it, that say they're there to support, but really, it's like. And I say this with love. So podcast listeners, you probably don't hear me speak negatively too much, but this happens occasionally, and it happened this week, and it's just really sort of in my mind at the moment. We've got all these great humans around us, but sometimes your peer group don't want to see you succeed as much as you think they do, which is really shit. And sometimes they're really silent no's. You'd be amazed in business where all the no's come from. And I think people going into business don't get that.
There's a video, like a reel that goes out, and it's like all people that know, like people watching your reels, and they're all like, oh, like all the faces of like, why are you doing that? That's so embarrassing. And then it's all the people that don't know that they're like, like, yes, it's always the ones that have no idea who you are that are like championing for you. And then the inner circle sometimes it's gonna be like, what? That's so cringe. So, but like, just everyone know, like, there's people out there that are going to champion for you. That's and right. Like, there was another, I want to give another example of, I saw a video, and there was this little girl, she was in a corridor at a high school in America, and she starts breaking down doing breakdancing, and she is incredible. She's so talented, so skilled. And you're just like, what? Sorry. And not one student in that corridor stopped to watch her or congratulate her. Everyone else was just like ignoring that she even existed. And it was a perfect example of just because like wrong place. Like don't think that you're untalented or, that you're not
Mm,
skilled or anything, because you could just be in the wrong room.
mm,
You need to just put yourself in the
mm,
right
mm.
room. Because I'm not explaining it properly, but I hope
No,
if
it
anyone
is.
sees the video, they understand that, like, you could be so talented, you could be this, but if you're in the wrong room with the wrong people, they're going to make you
Oh,
feel like you're not.
correct.
So just move yourself into a different room. Yeah.
Get around the right humans. And I always say, for me, my experience over time is clients become mates before mates become clients, which is really sad
Mm.
part of my life. But that's one thing that's really upsets me about being in business. And so I really try to support other business owners
Yeah.
in every way that I possibly.
Well, you're doing it by having the podcast,
Yeah,
aren't you? Because you're spreading other stories and that.
good vibes, except for the last 3 minutes. So apologies.
No, I don't think that's
Was
negative vibes though. I
right.
think it's constructive building blocks for people to realize. So I don't think that was negative
Oh,
at all.
thank
I
you.
think it was
Oh,
actually quite honest. Yeah.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. Love your work. Great conversation. Now tell me, Casuarina, you have got something like, I read in your bio, like 250,000 humans. Do you have 270,000 humans following you? Did I hear that?
Yeah, it's increasing by the day. So yeah. Yeah, we've got 125,000 on Instagram. We've just gone over,
Oh,
we're nearly at 21,000 on YouTube, and then all
wow.
the other ones as well. But yeah, it's pretty special. Hey.
Good on you. Good on you.
Yeah.
And well done. And some of those are children. And you talked about your kids' book. For everyone out there, for the parents out there, tune in because you're about just to hear about a great little book. And I remember you told me about it last time. So can you just tell all our listeners again, Casuarina, how the book came
Yeah.
about and what it's about?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think there's enough positive literature out there about trucks. So I decided to write one, and it was a lot bigger process than I thought. But I wanted to create a book that was inclusive of everyone, that was entertaining, but also educational. So I decided to start doing a reach out to all the people in my community, and I was like, every now and again, I'd be like, does anyone drive a tipper? Can you send me photos of your trucks? And everyone's like so proud of their trucks, right? So everyone's sending me these photos, and I was collating it into a document so that I could have reference photos. And what I did is I tried to make it so that any kid reading it would see someone in it that they could like connect to, either look like them, look like someone they know. So then I started to try and figure out who the drivers would be. And I wanted it to be like a few girls, a few guys, old, youngs. And so then I started looking at different ethnicities and names, like everything like that. So I based it on my niece and nephew and me, and it was their day. So every kid sees trucks all day. So let's talk about that. So they wake up, they get told I'm coming to visit. Then they hear a truck, so they run to the window. Oh, is that Auntie's truck? No, that's Lee in the garbage truck. He's collecting our rubbish. So we're identifying the person that's driving the truck, what the truck's called, we're identifying the truck, and what it does to like support you. So collecting our rubbish to take to the dump. The next one, they're riding their bikes, which they do all the time to go to the park. Oh, is that Auntie's truck? No, that's Hutchie in a concrete truck. He's delivering concrete for our footpaths to walk on. So identifying the person, the truck, and what it's doing. And so it's just a really fun way of going through the day, looking at what they like, just trucks that they see every day, giving them the proper names. And the feedback's so special. I think we've sold over 1,500. I self-published it all. I paid for the illustrator. I paid to get it printed. I've done my own marketing, which is honestly nothing at all. Like I should do it more. I've just got a bit of imposter syndrome. I don't want to bore people with it because I've got ADHD. As soon as it printed, I was like, okay, next one. And everyone's like, but you've got to sell these first. And I'm like, but I've got my next idea. And it would be ideal to try and get maybe a publishing house to pick it up, and hopefully we can continue to do a whole series like Bluey, but do it with trucks. I even contacted the people in Brisbane that started Bluey and run it, but they're like, we can't take outside influence for ideas. So I'm like, well, again, no one sees a value. Let me just do it myself. So the next one will be based on my race transporter going to races. So I've just got to, just try and figure out how to make it inclusive, how to make it educational, and make it about everyone, not just about me. I think because of the title, Is That My Auntie? I think everyone thought that I was going to be in every page, but the reality is I'm the very last page. Murray and my mum are having a cup of coffee and a bubbuccino at a cafe, and I pull up. So, so I'm just trying to figure out all of that because, Yeah, but the feedback, the videos, the emails from people being like, you know, the people that aren't even in trucks. So it's like I'm like, okay, how do we get it in every school? How do we get it into libraries and this and that? Because it's actually really complicated. It's not just a matter of like, like you've got to apply. You've got every state's different. Yeah, so you have to go to each state council. It's not just like you just don't like submit it. Same with like publishers, like you can't just like they have only small windows where you got to apply and then you're just in this pool of everyone else. But it's interesting. It's interesting, but I'm very proud of it. And I hope I can do more of that. We've got a colouring in book now. We've got merch that comes off that, and all of that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Congrats. And as someone who's
Thank you.
so someone who's published and self-published 8 books, I get it. Yeah, it's not an easy task, and yeah, selling them is something that just gets forgotten so quickly.
Oh, like everyone that gets it loves it. Everyone that, like, I went to a conference the other day, they sold it in 10 minutes because I only took 30, thinking no one would want them, and I could have probably sold like 100. You just don't know. Like, you could go to a truck show one day and sell so many, and the next day you go to a different demographic of area. It's very interesting. There's certain areas that you can tell that maybe lower socio-economical areas don't see the value in books for kids. They're walking around with trolleys but full of lollies and junk, but they won't spend $20 on a book. So again, understand that you don't have a bad product, you're just in the wrong space. So that's been really interesting for my head, is like, you know, like I had this day, I'm like, I've wasted my time being here. Like, why did I even do this? Why did I even write a book? No one wants it. But then the next day I could be at another truck show and people are like, this is me. I'm buying 20. I'm going to give them out to everyone in my district. And you're like, oh. So again, if someone doesn't see your value, it doesn't mean you're not valuable. You're just in the wrong place.
Love some of those key messaging, Casuarina. Casuarina, can you do us a favor? Can you send us a link to the book, and we'll put that
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
the podcast. So for anyone
Thank
listening,
you.
and I guarantee to buy some as well, and we'll hand them out as gifts to people. So yeah,
Oh, thank you.
big deal, big
Thank
deal.
you.
I don't know if I've got one in here. Just hold that thought. Hold that thought. Hold
Yeah.
that thought. Hold that thought. I bet you I can't find it when I need it, and of course I can't. Very quickly. I used to have another kid's book from a leader who was an author, and she was a psychologist actually, org psych, and we bought that, and we give that to our clients as a gift
Nice.
type example. So anyway,
Beautiful.
thank you for sending the link through. Casuarina, I'm going to do a closeout now with everything I've learnt today, and then
Okay.
I'm going to come back to you in a minute. So if you could get ready for just like the big motivational closing, if you could, buddy.
Okay.
So today, thank you so much to Casuarina Smith, who's just trucking with CJ. You know, just so many followers out there who hang off every word, which is really, and what Casuarina said when I asked about influence was it's a responsible role. It is a really, really responsible role, being of advocacy. And I won't use the word influence because that's, no one likes the word influencer, even though we all know that we have an influence on someone, whether it's overtly or covertly. Even the leaders, you know, influence their teams just by the way they show up. They don't even have to talk. It's an emotional thing. We're creatures of vibration and emotion, and there's a thing called emotional contagion. And so, you know, I don't think people realize just how much we do influence others. Casuarina does, and takes that really responsibly, which I really love. This conversation was amazing. Casuarina talked about being values driven, and I think this was a real message for our leaders out there, that it's really easy to get sidetracked and get misaligned. We'll never violate our beliefs because they're convictions, but our values, you know, honesty, transparency, faithfulness, blah, blah, blah. The human species is great at violating their values, I can tell you, but Casuarina has really stayed aligned, and I love that. And anyone that can have that conversation, I know is on point, and I know is really authentic. And I think you'll hear that coming through. It doesn't matter what I know. It just matters what our listeners hear and what you get out of this conversation. I love Casuarina's story about transitioning into truck driving, dad being worried, but dad being the proudest dad in Australia of 2 girls in industry. Only 2% of truckies are females, which is really interesting. And the 2 Smith sisters They're the 2% of 100 drivers. So the next 100 people you see, the Smith girls make up that 2%. And I loved how Casuarina talked about being influenced by one person who saw the benefit in her and the potential in her and her sister. Now, that's pretty powerful. So it must be good parenting. Go dad and mum. And then obviously Casuarina changed careers from this corporate career and went truck driving for a little while. But Casuarina talked about now having to get out of that and relying on her brand and her influence and her speaking and other skill set to obviously fund her business now. And when you're selling personal services, big deal. It's not an hourly rate. Sometimes it's a daily rate. Sometimes you don't get a lot of work. So, but here's Casuarina's key message today. And I'm freaking bought in. Get in the right room. I'm going to say that loud with a bit of passion. Get in the right room and get around the right humans who want to see you succeed. And you'll know them. You feel it. And sometimes those right people show up. They're just the universe aligns. The universe is here to help you succeed. You've got to know what your vision is, and you've got to know what your values are. And when you are aligned to both those, the people will show up. You'll find the right rooms. And Casuarina talked about her kids' book and children's book, I should say, her children's book, that when she's in the right room, people buy it, and then they get value, and then she gets the messages back. And that's a beautiful, beautiful sort of circle of influence. Now, as I said, we're going to come back to Casuarina to close us out with an amazing motivational ending to this fantastic podcast.
I think for me, at the end of the day, I'm going to always be a truck driver. I love it. But I realize now I've got a responsibility. I'm not just working in the industry, I'm working for it, and I'm advocating for it.
Working for the industry. Wow. You heard it first here, team. As we close out this podcast, please remember to subscribe to the Find Your Influence podcast with Anton Guinea, where we unpack all things influence. Click the button below so you get alerted to more. Don't be the one of the 90% that listen to this and doesn't subscribe. Subscribe. Jump on board.
It helps. It helps a lot. It helps us get the message out to people that really need to hear it.
Casuarina, you rock.
Thank you for listening to the Leaders of Influence podcast with Anton Guinea. And if this episode gave you even one idea that you can use this week, can you please do me these 3 things? Follow the show so you never miss an amazing leadership conversation. Share this episode with one leader on your team or on another team who you think could benefit from it. And if you want the full framework, the full experience, and to dive deeper, grab the book Leaders of Influence. By the way, that book's been a week on the bestseller list. It is built to help you lead with conviction, earn buy-in faster, and drive execution without having to chase people. If you want to bring leaders of influence into your business, if you want to have a conversation around how you can create leaders of influence, reach out. Let's talk. The links to connect with us are in the show notes. See you on the next episode.